Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well and welcome to today's video. So in this video I'm going to be covering SCP-078, also known as Guilt, and I thought that this one looked like quite an interesting one in all fairness, so I thought why not cover this in a video. So 078 is to be left hanging on the room of its containment cell and physically unplugged. The sole outlet in the room should be controlled by a switch, which must be left in the off position at all times, unless 078 is undergoing testing. Personnel who enter the containment room should familiarise themselves with the position of the switch so that they can locate it with their eyes closed in the event that 078 is accidentally turned on. So right off the get-go, special containment procedure. It's very much like you can't look at this SCP. You know, if it does accidentally be turned on, you need to make sure you cover your eyes and turn it off as soon as possible. So that's quite interesting, how it must be something that affects you if you look into it, and so that needs a power supply, so that's quite cool. So now let's go into the description and what happens if you look into it. So 078 is a pink neon sign approximately 1.5 meters long that displays the phrase "Too late to die young." It was initially recovered in a town of redacted. After standard Federation data mining protocols recorded an abnormally high death rate due to starvation or other forms of self-neglect. I wonder which country it was in. That is quite interesting. If you guys have any idea, let me know in the comments below. Always good to have a discussion about these sort of things. So let's carry on. While powered off, 078 has no abnormal properties and may be observed without effect. Viewing 078 for less than 10 seconds while it is powered on has no effect, nor does indirect observation. Subjects who cannot understand 078 due to lack of ability to comprehend written English are also unaffected. However, any subject that views 078 for longer than 10 seconds will, when viewing any handwritten piece of writing, occasionally perceive extra sentences. These sentences are not written in the subject's own style or that in that of the surrounding text, but consist of a random style that differs from note to note, and always are phrased as if to play on the subject's guilt on some matter or decision they feel guilty about. So that's quite an interesting concept, really. So you look at this sign, and then any piece of written text, it will play on your guilt. That is quite cool, to be fair. That would mess with your mind as well, though, to be honest. Like, you know, if you're just reading, like, say, your favourite book or something, and then all of a sudden there's random sentences about a random decision that made you feel guilty, you'd be like, what the bloody hell is going on? So next we have some examples. So it says, for example, a D-class personnel who was convicted of murdering his wife in a heated argument read the sentence, "She deserved it for not doing what you said," in his handwritten journal, while there was a doctor, obviously redacted, who left his family to work for the Federation and was accidentally exposed, found the sentence, "Your work will save humanity." So, and this was on his notes on another SCP that has also been redacted. At first, the effect is beneficial, with affected subjects reporting greater peace of mind after exposure to 078. However, the sentences shift from emphasising the positive consequences of actions to de-emphasising the negative ones on a timescale of 1 week. Dr. Redacted, 2 days later, found the sentence, "They never loved you anyway," in his personal journal. Moreover, the writing will start giving justifications for acts the subject has never even felt any guilt over, for which the subject has already rationalised. The subject will then start reconsidering his justifications for those actions, as well as attempting to justify any further actions that they take. The need for rationalisation, sorry about that, guys, increases as time goes on, and they will start focalising their thought processes, and by the end of 1 week, any task the subject performs more trivial than the basics of survival will induce a bout of neurosis, as the subject attempts to rationalise why they do not instead take some other action. By the end of 2 weeks, the subject is unable to eat food After the first bite, they will spend the next hour justifying why they ate that specific part of the meal first. Death due to malnutrition follows unless the subject is fed intravenously. D-class personnel have reached this stage, as well as a certain amount of researchers, both redacted, who were accidentally exposed. are kept alive for purposes of study and to see if a cure can be found. So that is quite hardcore. So that is quite mad when you think about it. So when you first see this giant pink neon sign with the most randomest phrase going, that is too late to die young, you start seeing random ass sentences that doesn't match the rest of the text, which I think is quite a cool little detail as well, I must admit. That justifies anything that you're feeling guilty about. And then all of a sudden later on down the line it starts making you feel like it just kind of switches a bit, and it's just mad. And then how it affects like your everyday life. I mean, like, sorry, not eating. If like, it's just mad, isn't it? It's something that we do day in, day out without really thinking about it. But then exposed to just seeing the sign, like, you would not think it. So that's just mad how it just escalates like that. So the sole exception to 078's effect is 078 itself. Any subject who views 078 a second time will see it display increasingly more guilt-inducing messages as duration since their first exposure increases. All subjects who have viewed it a week after initial exposure have attempted suicide. Well, that's a bit dark. But yeah, so I couldn't imagine, to be fair, because guilt is a very horrible emotion to go through, or feeling, whatever you want to call it. I say it's emotion, but yeah, guilt is horrible and it affects a lot of people, myself included. So now we've got a little tidbit on. So this is from a D-class personnel person. Personnel person, you know, I'm just rolling with it at this point. So it says, D19384, whose handwriting was unusual mix of cursive and print, was exposed to 078 and was then terminated after reaching the consequence-free stage. Subsequently, other subjects have reported seeing sentences in the same cursive/print mix. It is possible that those who die after being exposed to 078 are incorporated into it in some way. So that just adds another layer of the creepy messed upness that is 078. Very good title also being known as Guilt, because it does definitely play on your guilt. Like, that is just mad to think about, looking at a sign and then all of a sudden you're basically being driven crazy, and you know, you end up thinking starving to death, or really trying to off yourself because of the insane feelings of guilt. That is just mad. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed. I really enjoyed this one. It was quite a cool one. Like I say, it's a shorter one, but it was definitely a cool sort of one, and it made my mind wander, which is always a lovely thing. But anyway, if you all enjoyed, feel free to like and subscribe to the video. Let me know your thoughts below, or you can also reach out to me on my social medias. I'll have the links in the description below. I have my email address in my YouTube bio. You can drop me an email if you want to do it a bit more private. And if you have any suggestions for any future videos at all, be it SCP related, creepypasta related, gaming related, like anything at all, I am open. And you know, you can always suggest it. If I'm not interested in it, I just won't do it. But you can always suggest it. It's always worth a try. It'd be interesting to see what sort of things you guys like. But I hope you're all doing well, and I will see you all in the next one.